Thursday. I'm just going to set the record button. I hope you haven't heard that, but here we go. So I thought today it's the last thoughts on Thursday around anxiety. This month has been much themed around anxiety, and of course we have the webinar tonight. But I thought we would talk about anxiety and being curious about anxiety, because I think often we don't stop and look at anxiety. We just are in it. And when we start to be curious, it starts to look a bit different, and we start to relate to ourselves within that anxiety a little differently. And what I mean by that is when we start to think about anxiety and we think, okay, what's this telling me? What's this doing for me? Why is this happening? When did it start happening? When was this anxiety first a thing for me? We can start to learn things. We can start to learn about why our mind is using anxiety to try and protect us. We can start to learn about why it's become so habitual and so prominent in our lives. And, for example, if we started to feel anxious when we first went to school, and we experience some unkindness or some bullying, then, it will be understandable that when we're around people, we might start to feel anxious because our minds say, oh, this is a dangerous situation for you because other people can be unkind and can create difficult feelings. So I think when we start to really get curious about our anxiety, we start to bring compassion in. We start to see ourselves and our anxiety as really a consequence of life, not a consequence of something being wrong or bad or, us being broken. But actually, our minds have found something that have tried to protect us from something in life that's been really tricky. Now, that's not to say we just get to that place of curiosity, discover it and think, okay, that's it done. I mean, we can do. That's not for me to say, but it's probably not the most helpful thing. I think what often is much more helpful is to say, okay, I understand that now. And I can be really compassionate that this anxiety it's not me, it's not who I am, but it is a consequence of something I've been through. And my mind has got stuck in that being the only solution. The anxious feelings are the only way I can approach a certain situation. And then we start to think about, okay, but what's important to me? What do I want to feel in this situation? Do I want to be able to step into more of these situations without anxiety? Is this an important thing for me? Do I want life to look differently? And then we can start to see solutions. But those solutions come from a place of kindness, from a place of compassion, from a place of not being angry or frustrated or judgmental of ourselves, but more from a place of, okay, now I get this. My mind's not trying to create a difficult life for me. It's not trying to make a bad world or a bad experience for me. But what it's trying to do is keep me safe, when I actually don't need to feel that anymore. So our minds get stuck in a time and place in the past. And so when they have a reminder of certain times and places, they will do the same thing. They will bring about the same solution. Again, that's just our minds trying to be helpful. It's like, do you know when you have a really lovely, well-meaning friend, but not always the most helpful? So, for example, if once upon a time they learned that you really loved, I don't know, yellow snuggly cushions. I don't know where that came from, probably because there's one behind me. And so every time they know that you're struggling or that you're upset, they bring you a yellow cushion. But 10 years down the line, when you've changed the colour scheme of your lounge or your bedroom or your house and yellow doesn't go, they're still bringing you those yellow cushions, because once upon a time they totally knew that that was the thing to bring because you would be thrilled with it. So they haven't quite kept up with the thing that's helpful in this situation. And so that's what our minds are doing. They're bringing the same thing that was once helpful, and they haven't yet realized that it's not helpful anymore. The level of anxiety that we experience in a situation in the past isn't necessarily now helpful now, perhaps. And so we need something different. But rather than our mind catching up, we've got to teach our minds that, because minds will stay in the past. They'll only bring what they've got from what they brought before. So the idea of this compassion, of this really being curious, okay, why was this there before? Okay, I see that that was really helpful there, and it makes absolute sense. But now it's not helping me. What is going to be helpful might be X, Y, and Z. So how am I going to start doing those things? And again, it's changing how we act, because we can have some say in that. We don't get to say what our minds bring up. They're just habitual machines, really. But what we can do is say, okay, what's important in that deeper place for me? What is important now for my life? And what's going to serve me? What is going to be helpful for me to do in my life that can change things? So, for example, if we're anxious about being in busy situations with lots of people, but we want to be able to go to gigs, or we want to be able to go to the theatre, or we want to be able to go to a Christmas market. I've said the C word already. But we struggle to, because the anxiety happens. It's about thinking, okay, this is important. I'd like to do this now. My mind doesn't realize what it's doing. It's trying to protect me. But in order to teach my mind that that's no longer a valid response to this situation, I've got to step into it. Now, you might not want to go into the busiest place, first of all, and you might want to gradually ease into feeling those feelings that come, so that you're used to what it feels like, so you can step further into busier places, whatever your anxious situations might be. But it is about not getting rid of the anxiety. It's about feeling it, but about feeling it with compassion, with curiosity, and with a wondering of, okay, what's my mind doing here? What's it trying to do? Because it won't be trying to ruin your life. It won't be trying to, spoil things, but it will be trying to keep you safe. So stay curious. And if anybody here is joining us on the webinar tonight at 7 o'clock, we look forward very much to seeing you there. It will be myself and my wonderful friend and colleague, Ali. Come and join us if you can. I will put the link to join again in the comments. It's not too late. And take care. I will see you either tonight or around this time, hopefully, for some more Thursday Thoughts next week. But for now, take good care. Bye-bye.